Hi, Billy here. And this time I've got an Uber match with smogon user Ome123. And the first thing I noticed about his team in the pre-battle menu was that he had 3 different Deoxys forms. Which just, I don't know, it seemed overboard. As well as having a Mewtwo, which means that he has 4 pure Psychic-type Pokemon, which means that he's got a tremendous weakness to Bug and Dark, which both Blaziken and his Darkrai resist, but I still don't feel like it's a well-thought-out team. This was kind of a shitty battle, but whatever. So I start out with my NyQuil, but I'm afraid of a U-turn, so I switch out into Mewtwo, which kind of was a stupid decision for a U-turn. You know, they're both weak. No, I mean, Mewtwo's weak to it. You know, Darkrai isn't. Maybe I thought about maybe if it had a fighting-type move or something. Anyway, so he predicts that, goes to the Shadow Ball, which almost takes out Mewtwo, but it doesn't matter because he extreme speeds, which means that Mewtwo really didn't do anything this match. His Deoxys does have speed boost, which is illegal because Deoxys doesn't naturally have that ability. It has pressure, but whatever. It was a shitty match anyway. So Mewtwo is taken down. So I switch into Poseidon, my Kyogre, just to get the rain up so I can switch into Ferrothorn without having to worry all that much about fire-type attacks. He goes for the Shadow Ball, which isn't very effective, and it pretty much does the same amount to him as it does to me, less after leftovers. I just go for the Leech Seed, because this Deoxys can't really do that much to me if all it has is Shadow Ball. He sets up Stealth Rocks, as I go for my Leech Seed. So, my Leech Seed is going to wear him down very nicely. Ferrothorn is... I don't know why he stayed in, because Ferrothorn really was, you know, just stalling him out amazingly. It would have been smart to go into Blaziken right now. And I really only wanted to scare him out because of his speed boost. He goes for Spikes as well, so he's got Stealth Rock and Spikes up, as I go for my own Stealth Rocks. This is weird because he doesn't keep going for Spikes. He sets up 1 layer of Spikes, and then pretty much the rest of the time that we're out here, he just Shadow Balls Ferrothorn, which really doesn't do anything. So, I'm not sure what this guy is thinking at this point, but he's just basically foddering off his Deoxys, even though it was at full health. He could have played much better. I mean, personally, I believe. Like, I honestly thought he was gonna be able to set up 3 layers of Spikes, and that was gonna really screw me over. But he doesn't. He sets up 1 layer of Spikes, and then stops. So maybe he doesn't know that 3 layers actually boost the effect of it, but oh well. I'm not gonna tell him how to play the game. He just keeps going for the Shadow Ball, which only does Life Orb damage. At this point, I feel like he wanted Deoxys to die, and I was hoping I'd be able to get up my 3rd layer of Spikes before he switched out, so that way I wouldn't have to worry about, you know, only having 2 layers and maybe getting killed while trying to set up my 3rd. Luckily, he lives right there, so I can actually go for my 3rd layer of Spikes as he dies due to Life Orb recoil, and Ferrothorn is gonna be, in good shape, even after that. So yeah. He's going to switch into, his Blaziken next, which will scare me out, but, you know, Ferrothorn did a decent job. I'm just gonna switch into my Choice Scarfed, Palkia to come in, take a hit, and then, you know, sweep, basically one-hit him. He goes for the Brave Bird for some reason, which I guess is a good move if he was expecting, like, a switch. Otherwise, I mean, had Ferrothorn stayed in on that, Brave Bird wouldn't have done... It wouldn't have been ×4 effective. It might have done a decent chunk, but I'm not sure if it would actually have killed Ferrothorn, so I'm not sure. But he's life orbed, and that did do a lot of damage. So maybe it would have killed Ferrothorn, but Palkia doesn't really have the defensive capabilities that Ferrothorn does. So I'm not sure. But I just Choice Scarf Surf. Even after a speed boost, I will be faster, so I will be able to kill this thing, basically. But it puts Wormhole at a really low amount of health. He sends in Mewtwo. I don't know, maybe he didn't realize that Palkia was Choice Scarfed, so after Stealth Rock and Spikes damage, I'm able to surf him out since it's due to Stab and the Rain. It's twice as... the Surf does twice as much damage, so it's basically as though it was a super effective hit. So Mewtwo is gonna die. So he sends out Deoxys Attack Form, and this thing does have extreme speed, so he will be able to kill me. Personally, I'm pretty sure if he didn't have extreme speed, I could have just, like, surfed through his entire team. But he does have extreme speed. So Wormhole is down. But Wormhole did its job. I'm going to switch into Jesus right now, but Jesus, the Arceus, is Bug, so it's going to take a lot of damage from the Stealth Rocks, but it doesn't really matter, because if I can just survive one hit, my Stab X Scizor will kill Deoxys Attack Form, and that's good for me, because Deoxys Attack Form is the only form that learns Superpower, and that fighting move is what I'm afraid of. So he goes for the extreme speed, afraid of maybe another Choice Scarf user, but it doesn't do enough to kill Jesus, so X Scissor will take out Attack Form. He's gonna... and I got a crit, which I don't think mattered at all, because Jesus has intense attack stat. He goes into Darkrai, and at this point, I'm just kind of thinking, Jesus won't be able to switch back in safely, so I'm just gonna leave him in as sleep fodder. This whole idea doesn't really work out in the end, as you'll see, just because he puts another Pokemon asleep. So the whole sleep fodder idea doesn't actually, go in this game. But whatever. So I switch out and go into Ferrothorn, because Darkrai, I'm not fearing any move from a Darkrai. So I'm just gonna, set up on this thing. Gyro Ball, or... I don't know. I can't really remember. He does have Ice Beam, and surprisingly, it doesn't do all that much. Life Orb's gonna tick away at him. I'm gonna set up Leech Seed to get, health back. I'm hoping maybe I can live 3 times after, Leftovers and Leech Seed. But his Ice Beam does enough that even after Leech Seed and Leftovers, another Ice Beam will be able to take Ferrothorn out. So I do switch out on this because it's always good to leave a Pokemon alive when you can, just so that way you can always bring it back in for maybe Death Fodder or something else. So I switch into Poseidon because I know he's probably going to go for the Ice Beam, and that's really not going to do anything because it's not very effective, and my Kyogre is naturally specially defensive. Kyogre's special defense stat is pretty nice. He's definitely nicely bulky. It does maybe, I don't know, less than 10%, I'd say. And Leftovers is gonna definitely help, as well as Leech Seed. I don't think I think Stealth Rocks and Spikes did more damage to my Kyogre than his Ice Beam did. This is where he goes to the Dark Void again, which personally, at this point, I'm like, dude, what the fuck? But I stay in. I don't disconnect. It doesn't really all that matter to me. I mean, if I lose, well, he put 2 of my Pokemon to sleep. If I win, he put 2 of my Pokemon to sleep, and I still kicked his ass. Which I do. Darkrai faints, and he goes into his last Pokemon, which is Deoxys Speed form. And Poseidon, I just go for the Thunder, because I'm just trying to take this thing out as quickly as possible, and I'm pretty sure Thunder can do that. His Thunderbolt is going to be super effective, and it's going to be a 3-hit KO. 2-hit after this. So I'm just going for Thunder, hoping that maybe Kyogre will break out of the sleep epically and just, you know, finish the game off. But it doesn't work that way. He's gonna keep Thunderbolting, I'm gonna keep sleeping, and eventually I'm gonna switch out. Just, I don't know, at this point in the game, I'm never good at keeping track of which Pokemon he still has left, so I try and keep something like Death Fodder-ish. So I am gonna switch Kyogre out for like later in the game, even though this is his last Pokemon, and now I know that, but at the time I didn't. So I switch into Arceus, knowing that Stealth Rocks will kill it, which means it's just a free turn that, yeah, it's just a free turn. I can get in a switch without being damaged, and he, yeah, he just does nothing. So I do go into the only Pokemon with full health, which is NyQuil, the Darkrai. I like the name, NyQuil. And my Darkrai, I'm running a kind of interesting set on this. He goes for the knockoff, which doesn't do anything, and it knocks over my Life Orb, which actually kind of helps in this, because it means I won't be taking residual damage. So I do Dark Void, his last Pokemon, because everything's dead, so nothing's asleep. He gets the speed boost, but when you're asleep, speed doesn't matter, you know, unless you're an Entei and can somehow run away while asleep. I do go into a substitute in case he wakes up, and I'm going to use a Nasty Plot, because my NyQuil doesn't have a Dark-type move, it has a Psychic, but this guy just forfeits. So, good game. It was actually kind of shitty, though. Bye.